Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about solving multiple teeth problems with interocclusal space. When we have multiple teeth involved in the interocclusal encroachment on the area, we're talking about a dentate case first, then we'll talk about edentulous. So such a case like here, you see multiple teeth are interrupting the occlusal table. The lower is over-erupted very slightly, but the upper are over-erupted extensively. Here, we don't only do single teeth adjustment that we talked about last time. We talked about the extractions, conservative, or doing these procedures to alter the crown position. Here we have to also involve something else, what we call the curve of Monson, or the sphere of Monson. So this is based on the Monson theory that teeth lie in a location where they meet a sphere. So this is the sphere, okay? The sphere of Monson. This sphere has different dimensions. The radius differs between patients and depending on the age, depending on the gender. This is a virtual the sphere of Monson drawn over many casts. How do they draw the sphere of Monson? By checking where are the most what is the sphere meeting the most occlusal contacts of the lower teeth. We know that the Monson curve applies to the lower better than the upper. Okay, so we have multiple teeth occluding. These are the occluding points of lower teeth, for example. They will bring a sphere that meets the best of the most of the teeth. So if I have an over-erupted tooth, it will show that it's not going with the line. Okay, so this is a digital procedure where they do it. And the idea here is that when multiple teeth are involved, they will have a problem of interrupting the occlusal table. No longer is the table following the Monson curve. We will have interruptions. Maybe it's quadrant interruptions or maybe bilateral interruptions. You could have cases like this even. Okay, see some of the interruptions of the occlusal table. Let me show you. Okay, look at this case, for example. See how much the occlusal table is interrupted? Look at this case. These are over-erupted. These are worn out. These are over-erupted. Now they're coming. The interruptions are coming from both arches. So once we want to rehabilitate, we have to go back to the curve of Monson that we have. Okay. So the idea of multiple teeth, I am adjusting them according to this plan. I choose one of these procedures, but the idea at the end is I need also not to check the single tooth. I need to go back and check the curve or the sphere of Monson. You can do that. It's done. It can be done, as I told you, virtually. This is a virtual system, and we know that the curve of Monson are not the same radius with different people. Some people have a large radius and small, so it goes and varies between 8 inches up to 11 inches. So this curve of Monson differs between patients. How do we interpret it? We interpret it by creating plates. These plates are according to the curve of Monson. These plates are placed over the teeth. This is what they call Monson sphere analyzer. This is a tool that somebody had invented where it has this shape, and this shape is applied over the occlusal table of the lower. To understand the curve of Monson or sphere of Monson, we first need to know where does it apply. We know that when we set upper teeth, do you remember we have studied this concept when we have set complete dentures, and this is why it's important to understand complete denture occlusion, because we will apply it multiple times in other prosthodontic procedures. You remember that we had a flat plane here. Okay, this was flat, and this flat plane, the anterior teeth and the canines and the premolars are on it, and then we begin with the curve of Spee. Curve of Spee is the posterior anterior part of the Monson sphere. Then we set the teeth with a buccal tilt on the molar areas, and we call this a curve of Wilson. This is the lateral component of the Monson sphere. So the anterior teeth are flat with the premolars. So the sphere actually applies for the lower more than the upper. This is why when we go to see the images we always see that they place the spheres on the lower teeth first. So they adjust the lower teeth first according to the sphere. And then because when we have interrupted occlusal tables, most probably will have upper and lower interruptions. So we adjust the lower to the correct curve, and then we go back and correct the upper according to the lower after we have finalized the lower occlusal table. So look at this cast, for example. If I look at this cast, I would find that this tooth is very high on the curve of Monson. These teeth are meeting, but this is a bit high. I could trim from this tooth a little bit, and so on. So we fabricate this plate. We make all of the lower teeth according to it, because we have overbite makes the lower teeth higher than the premolars. And this is actually how we measure the curve of sphere. We measure the height of the last cusp here, the height of the canine here, and in between we measure the vertical depression of the sphere in this area. And usually the deepest points are around the second premolar and close to the first molar. So the idea that we apply it first for the lower. If I have overrupted teeth, I adjust the lower. Then I go back and adjust the upper according to the lower. We set the upper teeth. Let's see this case. This was a case where the people had made an overdenture, and they have fabricated. They first altered the lower teeth, okay? In this case, they had badly broken lower teeth. They changed by adding composite to the occlusal table according to the sphere of Monson, okay? All of these now are contacting the sphere of Monson, and then they created the upper complete denture according to the lower, okay? So if you're going to do it in cases of implants as well, you need to adjust the curve of Monson on the side you're working, and then do the opposite. Now suppose I'm doing the opposite. I'm not replacing the upper teeth, I'm replacing the lower, and the interruption of the occlusal table is in the upper. What am I going to do? I could go back to the sphere of Monson, or checking remaining lower teeth, say the remaining lower teeth are okay. Then I would use not this one, but a hollow one where it also has a curve of Monson inside, because we are now in the maxilla and we're talking about the concave part now of the sphere of Monson. We adjust the upper according to the sphere of Monson. We adjust these teeth. How much do I need to remove? We don't know unless we apply the sphere. So we apply the sphere over the anterior, taking out the anterior teeth from it, because we said that the curve of the sphere of Monson occurs posteriorly. So I'll place the same plate more posterior from the canines backwards, and see how much interruption I have of the occlusal table. So I'm going to place my sphere from the canine backwards. Make sure I'll have a posterior reference point and anterior reference point, the canine and something behind. I need at least 3 stops on the sphere. Then using the sphere on casts, I begin trimming the tooth on the cast until I reach the depth that comes and coincides with the sphere altogether, anteriorly, posteriorly. And I make sure also on the cast now I have, after trying it, I need to make sure it's also parallel with the interpapillary line and the elatragus line. So I've trimmed the tooth on the cast as a trial. On the cast, I measured how much vertically have I trimmed, and this will tell me what is my procedure for each tooth, and depending on how much I trimmed. So some teeth will need only enameloplasty, some teeth will need a crown, some teeth will need crown lengthening, depending on the severity of the supra-eruption. For example, this case, this tooth will need more drastic solutions than this one. If I'm going to use the treatment using procedures. If I'm going to do intrusion, I'm going to intrude it until it meets the curve of the sphere of Monson once more. So this is the solution for multiple teeth on a quadrant. If we adjust the lower sphere of Monson, and then we adjust the upper accordingly. Okay, so this is localized solutions for multiple teeth. Now we're going to move in the next video for interocclusal space gaining for a whole arch in a moment.